Tata Motors has launched Tiago in a completely new avatar, and I have the pleasure of speaking to Mr. Shailesh Chandra. Thank you so much, sir, for taking time out for us.
Thank you for having me.
Tiago's launch, an exciting product, lots of new developments. Now, I want to first understand what is it that you have tried to give with this new Tiago?
See, Tiago, in the hatch segment has been a very popular car since the time we launched in 2016. Right? It is known for its stunning design. It has been known for its safety. It has been known for packing features more than what you see in the segment. That is the philosophy on which Tiago has been in the market, right? And it has a very good acceptance, including it has multi-powertrains and so on. So in the new Tiago, what we observed that the pace at which the updates and inclusion of features are coming in the SUV segment, in hatches it has been a bit slow, if not lack of updates, right? And therefore, we realize that actually customers might not have moved away from hatches. It is the products and lack of updates which would have made them move away from it. The proof point for us came when we came with a refresh of Tiago in 2025 model year in Jan 2025. While the hatches segment degrew by -3% in FY26, we grew by actually 20% in Tiago. It shows that if you give an update, there is an interest of people and still people are accepting this body style, right? If you give similar kind of update and you keep the modern experiences, in the cars that you are offering in this segment. So new Tiago, new generation Tiago that we are launching is coming from this premise. So we are significantly making the experience of this product more modern. When I say modern, design-wise, you see all the new elements of what a modern exterior design you would find, whether it is lighting. It has been made look more bolder, more upright, more assertive, and that look gives it, it makes it look more wider, longer, etc. From an interior perspective, in-cabin experience has completely transformed. What you would pay, what you would get in a car, double the price is what is being given in this car. Whether you talk about the modern execution of the dashboards, to the buttons, to the door, and the seating experience, which has been taken from one segment above, from our Alpha architecture. It has been taken and given here. You don't think of a family and you ignore the rear seat space. There we have given rear AC vent because actually the real family is sitting in small cars. These are the people who have bought the car for the family for the first time in their life. So you have to give equal importance to the rear seat also. These are the changes that we have brought. Of course, along with that, we have electric vehicle, which has multi-powertrain option that we retain in this petrol, CNG and electric. This is the change that we are bringing.
In electric, when you launched the Punch, in the Punch EV, you had improved the battery size, but that's not something we have seen in Tiago EV. What is the thinking behind that? Was it a constraint because of the size of the car? Why did we not take that step?
Yeah, it's a great question. See, if you remember when we were launching the Punch EV, we talked about the low penetration in less than 12 lakh electric vehicles, right? Punch was the first intervention to make it promising. So the cost benefits that we have got from so much of work on the subsystems, cost reduction, and over a period of time, localization and all, that we directed in two directions. One was to increase the range, one was to reduce the price. That is what we did with Punch to make it a very versatile first car or the primary car for a person who's seeking for a car below 12 lakhs. Tiago, we got a lot of learnings from 75,000 customers who have bought Tiago in the last 4 years now. And what came out was very clear. There are 3-4 kind of used cases where people are buying Tiago EV. One, it is definitely run as an intense city car in congested streets. Second, you see it is being used as a second car in the family. Third, there are also people who are doing predictable long distance running going up to 150 kilometer every day, but it's predictable, which means there is a school teacher who goes from city to a small town to teach, and her up and down is 150 kilometer, but she knows that I can charge there. There's a businessman living in the city who's going to his factory 100 kilometers away. He also has a charge there. So it is predictable long distance running also. So if it is predictable, the requirement here is more fit to purpose. In that case, they are more seeking for a more aggressive price versus range, because they know that I can manage in this. Therefore, you have to do that optimization to fit to purpose rather than overlapping with what proposition is for Punch, which is more versatile, right? So we also wanted to have distinct role for the two products, and that is how we have gone about it.
You know, when we were talking about Punch, you mentioned that a large, I think around 40% of its buyers are first-time buyers. And Tiago also focuses on first-time buyers. So do you suspect there will be some cannibalization, both of these eating into each other's pie?
Actually, I would have said more 70% first-time buyers for Punch. Okay. It will be higher in Tiago, I believe. The price points are slightly different. If you really see, there would be a difference of 1.5 lakh. This is significant in the entry segment. So therefore, there will be definitely some overlap, which will be there. Because there might be customers who would be wanting to buy a hatch, but because of similar kind of modern experiences that you're getting in Punch would have shifted there. So some of them would say that, wow, if I'm going to get this feature in hatch which I actually liked, they might shift, but that's a small overlap, I believe. The larger increment in sales of Tiago is going to come from other hatches in the market. And that is where I believe the greater part of the incremental sales is going to come from.
You know, good that you mentioned hatchbacks, because as you said that last year 3% decline in hatchback sales. You grew, but that's probably because at the cost of other options that were available. Now, what is your expectation from hatchbacks? Because we have seen the small entry-level hatchback segment has been on a decline. Now it's a much smaller portion of the overall market. What is it that you expect from this segment?
See, first, you know, if I see FY26, which was a tale of two halves for the industry also, H1 and H2. In both the halves, we have seen that hatches have retained the share, which is 21% of the total TIV of the market, which means that H2 had a significant growth for the industry. Hatches have also grown in H2. Post-GST world for hatches has also been significantly better. But since the H1 was significant decline, at an overall level it declined. So there is strength in hatches right now. Who are buying hatches? If you really see, who go for hatches? One, budget seeking, because they have limited budget, they can't buy more expensive car. There's a footprint reason, because somebody is using in a congested city and feels more comfortable with smaller footprint car, which today hatches are offering, right? Or a third use case can be, there are people who have lived their life in hatches and want to still be with it, but since updates were not there, if you keep giving updates, those people might not want to move from hatches. We have a mix of all these kind of customers. That's the reason why I see that over a period of time, while there was a sharp fall that I have seen in hatches share as a percentage of TIV, from 46% in FY20 or FY21, it sharply went down by FY23 to about FY24 to about 27%, so 20% drop. But then next 2 years, if you see, it is down to 23 and then 21%. So you see that this curve is now stabilizing. Okay. Even if it is able to remain stable, which I believe with the updates, if all the manufacturers start giving updates in hatches similar to what is being for SUVs, this 20% means nearly 1 million demand in the market. India is growing. Yeah. India is growing in PV industry will grow as a secular rate of 6 to 8%. So 2030 it can be a 6.5 million market. So if you are getting additional 2 million volumes, 2 to 2.5 million volumes, 20% of that can be 400,000. If it slightly further goes down, still it will be a 1 to 1.3 million market. So it's significant. Its share will definitely has been degrowing, and therefore it is moving in more towards SUV for practical reasons and trend also. But there is a sizable market which is going to be left for hatches.
So you will keep investing in hatchbacks?
I will keep investing in the existing hatchbacks. I'm not going to expand my portfolio in hatchbacks.
Okay. Now let's talk about your powertrain. What is your powertrain mix looking like currently, and how do you see it changing? Because we have seen, because of this West Asia, Middle East crisis, there is a bit of a trend towards EVs. So what is your assessment? What trends have you seen?
See, today we would have about 15% of our volume mix being EV, and 20% of our revenue mix would be EVs, right? Today, our mix is at 15-16% more because of supply constraints than demand. If I see the demand post the Mid East crisis that started and more accelerated, in the last 15 days, which I would say, as there is more real shift that you are seeing in the fuel prices now, I would say that if I just take the example of May, my demand, which I measure in terms of bookings, not inquiries, I'm talking at booking stage, electric vehicles bookings would be nearly 30% of my demand. So if I was able to theoretically increase my supply immediately to match the demand, I would potentially double my sales in electric vehicle. And therefore, theoretically, it can go to 30%, but we'll also have to observe to what extent it is the immediate emotional response of a customer basis what has happened on the fuel price side. We'll have to observe where it stabilizes. So I predict that our share is going to significantly increase because we are also now going to work on enhancing the capacity in the next 2 to 3 months. And as you know that we are going to come with new nameplates in electric vehicles, also additional products. So yeah, I think we are more than on track as far as the committed 30% plus number in the next 3 to 4 years.
Now, my next question is, where you said that you are expanding your EV capacity. Where does it stand currently, and how much are you planning to expand it by?
Right now, see, we would be supplying about 9 to 10,000 a month. In internal capacity, we have very fungible capacities. So internal capacity is not a problem. I can always shift from, one to the other, right? But supply capacity has to be enhanced. So some suppliers can immediately respond as I give schedules to them, but some of them will require enhancement of their production facility also. So I believe that in the next 3 to 4 months, we'll try to see if we can enhance our supplies by 50% or so is what we would at least aspire to do. Let's see how fast we are able to do. It can take slightly longer because these are ongoing discussions with the suppliers.
And what's the situation on CNG and, of course, diesel as well? I would like to know your view on long-term prospects of diesel.
See, till BS7 intervention, I don't see a significant change in diesel, right? And we'll have to really assess when we have more clarity in terms of the requirements of BS7. Post that, we'll be able to assess. But in a growing SUV market right now, the diesel remains strong, is what I see. Okay. But now it will be interplay of a lot of things. It will be interplay of the next emission norm, which is BS7. It will be interplay of CAFE norms. It will be interplay of demand because of the growing traction for bigger SUVs also.
And have you seen any significant change in trends on CNG? Because though prices of CNG have gone up, but not as much as petrol and diesel.
I have not seen significant shift because this is also the increases in the prices of CNG as well as petrol and diesel is last 10 days phenomena. It will take time for market to respond. But given that entry segment is sensitive to these changes, we might see certain shifts from, say, petrol to CNG. EV is very evident already. But given that CNG price would have increased by, say, or increased 2 rupees less than petrol prices, there can be still a shift towards the CNG cars for entry segments.
Okay, so you have been betting on EVs for a long time, and now EVs have slightly bigger portion of your sales than compared to the industry. Where do we see EVs by say 2030, considering there is a huge shift towards EV as we speak? Do you think this demand will be sustainable once the crisis gets over? Then too there would have been a systematic shift towards EVs.
You know, there can be multiple scenarios that can pan out. If the war prolongs, if oil prices remain at this kind of a stubborn levels or increase further from a dollar per barrel perspective, then things can be moving more favorably towards EVs, right? Then already you are seeing double the demand that we are 2 to 2.5 times the demand that what we would have been getting 2 to 3 months back. So you are already seeing that emotional response coming from the customers. If say another scenario where the war ends and oil prices start coming down, still the elevated prices because the oil companies might still want to recover some of the losses they might have made, it might remain at a certain level now. So you don't see too much of volatility in the fuel prices in India, right? There is a tendency of government to help the customers by absorbing for a certain period and not just keep it completely coupled to the market of how the oil prices are moving. So I do see that there can be slight change. So there is an immediate emotional response which can come down slightly, but for sure it will be now going to the next level. And I would not be surprised if we exit this financial year, say at 8% penetration of electric vehicles. Possible, 7.5 to 8%.
That would be a significant improvement.
Yes.
Now, I also want to ask you, because we just heard Stellantis investor presentation where they mentioned that they will be sourcing a platform from Tata Motors. While I'm sure I would want to know more about it, I also want to ask you about your export aspirations.
Yeah, so Stellantis is a long-term partner for us. Any comment we would make at the right stage of the milestone crossing. I don't want to comment anything at this stage because we have not crossed a milestone to make any, comment with assertion. So I just hold that point. As far as export is concerned, we have very high aspirations. Last year, financial year, we opened South Africa, got very good response. We grew exports by 4 times. And we have identified 3-4 more markets that we want to enter in the next 2 years. And that the
Will they
work
be
is on.
more on the south, global south? Are you looking at Australia? Are you looking at New Zealand?
Maybe some of the names that you're saying, but I don't want to confirm at this stage. But at some stage, you would know where the Indian manufacturers are selling their car, where there is greater acceptance of Indian brands. So those are the low-hanging fruits and where we would like to definitely look at. There are very different markets for electric vehicles on the other side, which we want to go, after some time in the second phase.
Okay.
So significant growth plans on the IB side, and therefore high growth, rates is what we are expecting in the next 3 to 4 years.
But on electric vehicle, is there a specific reason why you're holding back? Of course, you have capacity constraint, as you said.
Yes, I think one is capacity definitely, because there is a domestic demand. Overall capacity we are working on, because you are already seeing that we had hit a number of 70,000, which means that at an annualized level of 850,000 to 900,000 already consumed, and therefore we need to take capacity actions. All the plants are running at nearly full capacity. Sanand 1, which was doing the Tiago Tigor, was the only one which was not operating at. Keeping my fingers crossed, they should again fully utilize it. So therefore, we have already initiated actions to enhance capacities through, and I talked about it in the analyst call, through different actions, debottlenecking certain shops in the factories by doing certain brownfield projects and so on. So in the next 2 to 3 years, we would like to enhance the capacity by about 300,000.
Okay, now last question. every time I have spoken to you, if I have not touched upon this topic, then my viewers come back and ask you this question: that how much are you improving your service? One complaint that is consistent with Tata Motors, despite the fact that people just love your cars, but they have these complaints about not adequate after-sales service support. What are you doing about it? How much are you investing on it?
No, I really acknowledge the concern, because if it comes from the customer, we have to take it on the face of what they say. And I also very minutely read the complaints on the social media. I get complaints, to me. But I must say that in 1.5 years, last 1.5 years, there have been series of actions that we have taken, which has still, I would say that certain distance to cover. But primary source of stress was coming because of lack of capacity, because we have grown as a company 5 times in the last 5 years, and 2 years of COVID did not allow us to enhance our workshop capacity, and we have taken significant actions in the last 1.5 to 2 years to enhance our capacity. We added about 1,500, 1,600 bays last year. And we have done it very systematically by focusing on the hotspot cities where the complaints were more. There's a lot of behavioral set of actions that we are taking. With the channel partners, we are educating them. In certain cases, there are consequences of not acting with empathy with the customers. Lot of work on ensuring that when a car comes and gets repaired in the workshop, it does not come again for the same thing. So we have come with AI-based tools also to ensure that the fault tree is well understood and it throws the right problem and diagnoses the problem rightly. That also we have implemented in the last 6 months. We have created a 24/7 technical help desk in our R&D center so that technicians can directly contact. Host of actions we are taking. We have gone for massive modernization of our workshop. Customers have to experience all this, and they are the best judge. So beyond that, I don't want to say we are taking actions on our side. I would not say that we are completely there. Our ambition is to be the best on customer experience, and we'll keep working towards that, and with full humility take the feedback of the customer.
All right, Mr. Chandra, thank you so much for taking time out and speaking at length. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.